But yeah, this video is called The Children of OnlyFans Mothers. I've seen a couple of other people reacting to it. Now am I going to react to it? You've never been a fan of kissing yourself? You know, I don't know. People like what they like. People like what they like. I've heard, for example, people that don't like hugs or like in general, no, like physical intimacy. So like whatever like works for you, I guess.
Yes, here we are again together, crying inside. Hi.
Before I go too deep into the video, here's my opinion about OnlyFans. No, stop it. Why did you try to get rid of like the sexualization of women and now trying to bring it back? What are you doing? It's also straight up. I'll just call it straight up evil. Straight up. Because you're capitalizing lonely, vulnerable men. That's why I also am. And you're also feeding like people more of their addiction. And like you would criticize a drug dealer for selling drugs to addicts, but you wouldn't criticize a sex worker for selling an addictive basically an addictive form of media to men, to addicted men. Basically, what I'm trying to say. Hi Seeker, we're talking about the children of OnlyFans mothers, and I'm gonna say it. Kissing has an odd texture to you. Again, I can understand that. Whatever you like. Yeah. My general opinion is on adult content in general. I like this kind of adult content is no. It can absolutely ruin your life. Yeah, and obviously, apparently, it ruins also the lives of children. I've heard a few times on like Twitter, seen like clips and stuff, and like art. I've also seen some articles where like kids got bullied for the like mom doing adult content, and like even like go as far to like end themselves or attempting to end themselves because of the bullying. The decisions that you make, and if you have children, if you're gonna have children in the future, will also affect them, so be careful.
Hi, my name is Sydney, welcome back to hell. And as per usual, before we launch in, today's video is sponsored by me and my new company, Lions Tea Exchange, which if you haven't checked out, you definitely should, because the tea is great and you'll love it, and it's inevitably be consequences for families. Okay. Now, what specifically made me want to talk about this issue was a post I saw on Reddit not too long ago. Not counting for the fact that Reddit is the
I don't know. Source Reddit is not a good source. I found it on the internet.
But a woman asked the subreddit, am I the a-hole, if she is in fact the a-hole for continuing to stream and post content on OnlyFans, Kick, and Twitch while her son is being bullied for it.
Yes, you are the asshole. First and foremost, before everything else, you are a mother, and you have to assure the safety of your kids. I think that is a very simple concept. Once you have a child, before you comes the child. The safety of the child, the well-being of the child just in general.
Yeah. Probably. In the post, the mother says that she is a single parent who has been using platforms like OnlyFans and Twitch for income, netting way more than she's ever earned in any other job. However, despite the financial payoff, her 14-year-old son told her he is being teased by his classmates because of his mother's content, leaving him feeling humiliated and alone. The woman finished her post by writing, I'm torn between the need to maintain our financial security and the negative effects my career is having on my son. I strive to be a good mother and provider, but I'm questioning if I'm failing him in other ways. Am I the a-hole for continuing this work despite—
Where's the dad? In these situations, where is the father? Where is the dad? Can he not help? Is he dead? What is happening? Where is the dad? I need context.
Despite the emotional cost it's having on my son. Ma'am, is the answer not obvious in the way that you have articulated this? Can you not read the room? The comments reacting to this post were very divided, with people saying that she is the a-hole because she's contributing to the emotional anguish of her child, and it's absurd that she's surprised by this at all, while others suggested that it's better to be financially stable, even if the job is embarrassing for her son.
The problem is with bullying that it can get to a point where somebody eventually might get hurt. And usually, it's not the kid being bullied. Just saying. I'll be real, if I were a woman, and I'd much rather slave away anywhere, like break my literal bones before I ever, as somebody who has experienced bullied, ever put my kid at risk of being bullied. Because I have escalated it before. That was not great. The results of that were not great. That I is still buying milk and cigarettes. Probably.
Yes, I tend to agree that living in a cardboard box is probably not the go. But neither is letting your kid get emotionally beaten to a pulp.
Squidward also lived in a cardboard box for a while, so I guess that's okay.
Because you want to take your clothes off on the internet for $15 a month. Now, a short time later, the mother posted an update. After a long discussion with her son about his feelings, the woman said that she has decided to disable her OnlyFans and will move away from inappropriate content completely. To many people, this probably seems to be the most obvious solution to the problem. And even though the damage might already be done because the images and content are already out there, at least the mother is listening to her child and taking action. But the interesting thing here is that the reaction of this mother in this particular case doesn't actually seem to be the norm. And I know
it's not the norm. It's not the norm. Oh no, what am I gonna see?
what you're probably thinking here. But Sydney, this is just you basing this off of a bunch of anecdotes that you found around the internet. And you would be right, because it's not like we have a bunch of statistics about mothers deleting their not safe for work content off the internet because it made their child sad. Although with how things are progressing, and given enough time, I don't think we're too far off. That revelation makes me terribly unhappy. Most of the stories that I've read, the women particularly who I have listened to, and the other anecdotes that I have collected from around the internet seem to have one very common thread. And that is, these children are being bullied relentlessly, not only by their peers, but generally by, I guess, wider society. They are being punished for the
Everyone and their grandma punishes these kids. Punishes these kids. Everyone.
Content that their mums and sometimes dads post and make online. The parents are aware of this, but they don't intend to stop. Not to mention the young OnlyFans women who don't yet have children but want them in the future are incredibly flippant and very cavalier about how this will affect.
If you are a sex worker, you should be banned from having kids. Sorry, not my problem. You should be banned from having kids. I don't care.
Their little ones somewhere down the road. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The children of OnlyFans parents, and more specifically mothers, because there's just more of them, and what on earth is going on here? And of course, once again, all of my regular disclaimers, this is by no means an exhaustive video. I am not going to hit every single point of this topic in this video. This is a snapshot that is based on observation, my opinion, and a little bit of analysis analysis because, once again, we do lack, meaningful empirical evidence that might help us explain some of what's going on and some of the effects and consequences that come along with this topic, which I feel like is obvious, but I always have to say. So with that being said, and before you once again board my hell gondola and together we traverse this river of sadness and cry tears of more sadness for Generation Alpha, who I am assuming are the primary generation who's going to be affected by this, let's hear from today's sponsor, which is me, Lions Tea Exchange.
Again?
And if you think that my regular ads are incredibly chaotic, let's see how chaotic my own's going to be. Huh. Alright, so we have to make an ad for the new brand Lions Tea Exchange. Here's what I'm thinking.
Skip the tea.
So go and check it out. Go and order the tea. You know you want to. In late 2023, a woman called Sarah Cheek and her family were banned from an ice rink in their Florida town. During an ice hockey game, her 9-year-old son was involved in an altercation instigated by another player. A parent in the stands reportedly cheered when the child was hurt, while others ridiculed the boy. Cheek and her husband confronted the parents, which led to a bigger conflict, where she was reportedly threatened with physical violence. A few days later, as a result of these events, Cheek and her family were banned from the rink, while the other parents involved were not. Sarah Cheek is well known in her community for producing content on OnlyFans. She also appeared on the cover of Playboy.
Violence is never good. Let's just say that. Violence is never good. But she also kind of created the circumstances. We have to admit that. It's like walking with like $1 million through a neighborhood that's high with crime and expecting not to get robbed, kinda situation.
And now has a pretty solid gig doing sports commentary. During an interview with WFLA, Cheek and her husband Matt were asked if it makes them anxious knowing that anyone can subscribe to her OnlyFans and subsequently affect their 4 kids. Matt Cheek answered, no.
It doesn't make me anxious because the way that I look at it is it shouldn't impact my 4 kids. Why would any adult think that it's okay to treat a child anyway based on the parents' job?
Having things happen to
because the adults aren't doing it. The adults aren't doing it. It's the kids of these adults that are doing it. And kids are relentless. Children are relentless. They know they have no parole. You can start in primary school and this will follow you up until the end of high school.
our children has been really hard because we turn off work. We're parents in that situation, and to see them get affected, it's probably the most heartbreaking thing anybody can experience.
Yeah, just ask kids what they are thinking. Don't ask the parents, ask the kids.
The pair also claim that this isn't even the first time Cheek's explicit content has affected their children. In the past few years, she has been banned from attending her daughter's cheerleading events, and her sons were booted from their football league. One of the pair's sons was even suspended from school. I think most of us can agree that punishing a child for the sins of their parents is probably not the way to go. But for these parents to act surprised and blindsided...
Yeah, that's the problem. It's obviously not okay that the kids get punished. I mean, obviously. But it does not seem like that the parents care that much. If this happened, if this would have happened to me, my mother would have found these kids. She would have found these kids. She would have found the parents. Oh my god, this would have spiraled into the fiery depths of an angry mother.
When these things inevitably happen in these situations is wild. Like, people gonna people. I feel like that's pretty well established. Now, I don't have pudding people as of yet, but I would assume that a general consensus among decent parents is that...
I love how she calls kids pudding people. Kind of cute.
For doing something that causes your child harm or distress or pain, whether it be physical or emotional, you stop. The same thing would go for any other relationship with a person you love and care about, like a spouse or a parent or a close friend. But that dynamic is really exacerbated when you are dealing with a child, someone who can't just often cut you out of their lives and over whom you have a degree of control. But rather than doing that, identifying that OnlyFans and the creation of explicit content is causing children pain and stopping, the Cheeks have done what many other content creators in similar situations have also done.
Nothing. Just continue the way it is, probably. I'd assume.
Blamed everyone else and doubled down. This is actually an attitude that I came across again and again while looking into this topic, and I suppose it brings me to my first point about this issue. These people seem to believe that sex work, as they call it, is as innocuous as any other profession, and if it makes them feel good, then really no.
It isn't. It isn't. There is a lot of harm involved that comes with sex work. There is, you are, how do I take it? It is, what's the word? Exploitative in nature, because money is more worth than seeing somebody naked on the internet. That's just how it is. You don't really get anything out of it. It is also harmful to those who are addicted to it, to the point it can lead them to end themselves, ruin their lives, ruin their marriages, ruin their relationships, ruin their careers. It goes so far and so on. Yeah, I don't think I need to say much more than that. It also ruins the lives of your kids. Kids that you have right now or future kids, that does not matter.
No harm done. In July 2021, in another Reddit post, a mother allegedly likened her OnlyFans content to working in a bank or a grocery store. Okay. You what? The post gained media attention because the 13-year-old bank or a grocery.
I've been depressed and suicidal because of my mom's OF. I'm 13 and my mom is 33. Things at school were never great. I'm sold short, so I get picked on some, but it was manageable. That was until one of my classmates showed me a picture of my mom naked. I almost had a panic attack and had to be excused from the classroom. I ended up not showing up to school for a few days, faking sick. I was hoping that things would cool off, but they didn't. As soon as I got to school, almost everyone in my class was staring and laughing at me. This has been going on for about a week now. I was wondering how my classmates even got the pictures, and apparently my mom advertises her OnlyFans on her personal Twitter account. Some students from my school follow her, so they were able to see the nudes, and they have been spread everywhere. I don't even have a Twitter, so I didn't know about any of this. The worst part is when I confronted my mom about this, she told me that I was overreacting, and that work is basically the same as working at a bank or a grocery store. No, it's not. Those are actually useful. Your job is not useful. You serve zero purpose. And the moment you turn too old, good luck. She also said it makes her feel good about herself and that I should be happy that she's more confident now. I'm always an advocate for doing what is right and not doing what feels good. But that could just be me. I told the principal, but they can't suspend thousands of students to take anyone's phones. I've been crying in my room every day for the past week. I don't think I can take it anymore. Yeah, that is a kid that if this continues, why did my kid put me in a nursing home? Now you know why.
Store. Okay. You what? The post gained media attention because the 13-year-old child who wrote it expressed that his mother's actions and content make him want to self-delete, especially after he became the target of bullies at his school. When the child tried discussing that with his mom, she apparently said that it makes her feel good about herself, making the explicit content, and that her son should be happy that she's more confident now. I feel like this is the same argument that meth heads make, except rather than making them feel more confident, I guess it just deadens them inside. Probably just like how this little boy is currently feeling. That got dark.
That is, if this little boy is even still around. Because we don't know if this little boy is still around. We don't know.
The flippancy and the arguable selfishness expressed in this post reminded me a lot of an interview on the Other People's Lives podcast from February 2023. The hosts, Joe and Greg, interviewed a woman who makes explicit content with her husband and other men. This is gonna be great. During the episode, Joe and Greg asked the woman about
We went from kids with OnlyFans mothers to cucks. That was a quick switch. that switched quite quick.
about how her chosen profession affects her 3 children, 2 of her older daughters being 11 and 14 at the time of recording. She said that in order to circumvent them finding out about her quote-unquote job from other people, she opted to tell them herself. I would love to be a fly on the wall while these conversations are going down. Mummy, why am I being
Wild.
bullied at school? I'm sorry, Marta. It's 2024 and sex work is real work, and I put all my areolas on the internet to pay for your piano lessons. I'm sorry, you did what? She added that the problems began when other kids in the town started finding her content and showing her daughters.
Mostly like other kids finding my stuff and then showing my daughters and being
Bro is dying of secondhand embarrassment. Bro is questioning the entire human existence.
like, your mom's a whore. That was really tough, and it ended up coming down to is I kind of had to just be like, I'm not doing it anymore. I kind of had to lie to them. In fact, I was told by their other set of parents.
Great. Yeah. Lie to your kids. That's definitely helping the relationship with your child. Absolutely.
That I needed to lie to them and tell them that I wasn't doing it anymore.
When the hosts went on to ask her how she broke this news to her children about her making the content, similarly to the aforementioned Reddit post, the woman explained that she likes doing the devil's tango and that she didn't get to have a hoe phase in her early life because she was pregnant very early.
The term hoe phase is a red flag. It is one of the reddest flags ever. Why exactly do you need this? What is the purpose of that? Why exactly do you want a hoe phase? I hate that it is being glorified to have like a lot of partners. I hate this. I hate this shit.
On. What is this? Wait a freaking minute. So this lady films herself doing the devil's tango with not only her husband but with other men, and then proceeds to put the explicit content on the internet. Lady, that's not a hoe phase.
What exactly did you tell them? Like, you were like, I make adult content? Like,
yeah.
What exactly? Oh, okay.
That's pretty much exactly what I told them. I was like, yeah, so I've always had super bad self-confidence, and you guys I know are pretty aware of that. I became a mom at a very young age, so I never got to explore that part of my life. I never got to explore the sexual side. I never got to have a hoe phase. And so this is kind of me as an adult being smart about it and safe. Like, I do make sure everybody that I come encounter with has been tested. I get tested regularly, and I let them know that. And I also reminded them that I am an adult. And
yeah, but the kids getting their ass beat on in school, you did not account for, and to be fair, you do not care. This is a red flag. Help these kids. Like, just help these children, man. Just help them. Get them away from these parents.
Allowed to make these choices. Being open and free with yourself is a really nice.
Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
Nice thing and a really beautiful thing, and being able to be confident in yourself and feel good about what you're doing and making yourself feel good, because let's all be real, sex feels good.
Like plenty of other anecdotes that I've seen from content creating parents, this mother also admits that her oldest daughter is embarrassed, and that's not something that this mother considered happening when she started posting and making explicit content.
I would have not had a mother that day. That would be like that discussion that day would have been the last discussion I would have had with my parent. To be fair.
Her friends have seen me naked. Like, that is a little embarrassing for a child to go through. And that wasn't something I really considered when I started getting right into it. And with not considering that, that's my bad.
Believe it or not, the I didn't think about how this would affect other people thing is a very common theme here. Online personality Adam22, who
Not Adam22. Not Adam Cock22.
makes spicy content with his wife Lena, appeared on the podcast Raw Talk in mid-2023. During the episode, when asked about his 2-year-old daughter, Adam said the couple didn't consider her when making decisions about their content creation.
So I mean, because that had to be the biggest thing you guys were like deciding for or against it, right? For your daughter, right? I'm assuming that would have been the hardest thing of it, or you just...
No, we didn't talk about that.
So what was the hardest part for you in saying yes to it?
The hardest part for me was just like wrapping my head around the idea that my girl was going to spend any amount of time with another guy, because even though I said it's not that big a deal to me, it's still a...
That is the biggest level of being a cuck that can ever be achieved. Bro was put on a chair.
deal. It's still a thing.
You know, I floated this idea previously, but I'm gonna float it again. Parenting licenses. Now, much of this attitude seems to piggyback
At this point, maybe?
on the slogans of liberal feminism, that sex work is real work and therefore cannot be questioned, and any negative consequences that come with participating in the sex industry are purely
I'm gonna triple down, sex work is not real work.
the result of unnecessary, unwarranted stigma, and that if everybody just dropped their puritanical attitudes, all would be well. And while that's all well and good as far as meaningless online political discourse goes, it doesn't exactly translate in the real world, a place where you have to accept that you're not always going to be met with the exact conditions that you want. So while the sex work is real work crowd can fantasize as much as they like about what life might be like absent of stigma, the fact remains, it currently exists. Sorry to be the bearer of bad tidings. Although at this point, I feel like that's my primary role for all of you. Now, it might
Yeah, the bearer of bad news. Sex work has consequences. Negative consequences.
be one thing for this negative association to impact a fully grown adult individual who is participating and involved in the industry, but it is another matter entirely when that individual's actions start impacting children who have absolutely no say in the matter. A Business Insider article
Or
from
people around them in general. There have been situations where people just lost their job because somebody they are related to makes adult content. The crowd do what you like as long as it makes you happy is stupid, because everything you do may affect another person. They just don't get that.
Early 2023, penned by an OnlyFans mother, lamented how this very stigma and the judgment associated with making not safe for work content is the reason she quit the platform, but she wishes that she didn't have to. She wrote, "I felt I was already running a risk by having an OnlyFans page as a mother. It didn't matter how much it benefited me financially. People look down on women who do any kind of adult entertainment work.
And I look down on everybody who does adult entertainment, for example, especially. I look down on everyone who does sex work. I don't care. I don't care. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
When mums do it, the stigma is even worse. Everyone assumes it will irreparably damage the child somehow.
I don't know, it probably does. I think we have established that at this point that it does.
I don't know, man. If Gen Z have taught me anything, it's that everything can irreparably damage a child. If Gen Z can internalize trauma from their parents forgetting to get them a birthday cake on their 5th birthday party, I am fairly certain that you putting your pink bits on the internet, your mom putting her one nipple, nope, that's not it either. Your mom getting very comfortable and intimate with some fruit on the internet for $12 a month is definitely going to cause some major trauma. Despite the potential blowback and negative perception, the woman says, running an OnlyFans page is the perfect job for a mother. I created content at home while my kids were at school. I could take time off when I needed it.
Let me correct that. I created content at home while my kids were bullied at school.
I was available to pick up my children after school instead of forcing them
after
into
they were bullied.
Some daycare program. If they were sick,
in which
I
they
could
would have also been bullied.
At home with them. I even had enough free time to volunteer in their classroom. What
while they get bullied.
I find really interesting about this article in its totality is that this mother seems to be quite upset about the stigma associated with what she was doing, doesn't seem to actually think that it will cause irreparable damage to children, and even makes the argument that it's a great and even perfect job for mothers. All while also admitting to the fact that she deleted her account from the platform, from OnlyFans, because the drawbacks were too many. The maths ain't mathin'. I guess all of this brings me to my second point. The individualism that underpins most of modern society, the attitude, I do what I want when I want, consequences be damned, future consequences be damned, is all well and good when you're a teenager or even a 20-something, living wild and free. But
it's just like most things you do likely have consequences for the future. That's just how it is.
It's a lot harder to justify when pudding people are in the picture. So as a result, and unsurprisingly, consideration for those pudding people really doesn't seem to be at the forefront of this issue. In early February of this year, 2024, a woman called Michelle Klein got her children
You gotta be fucking shitting me. She put that on her car. She put that shit on her car. No!
Expelled from a Christian school in Florida. Klein was asked to stop driving her car on school property because it had a decal of her OnlyFans handle on the back window. And quite a large one, if I do say so myself. Like, lady, what did you expect?
Told her she could not drive on school property anymore.
OnlyFans creator. Gets like told that she cannot be close to the school. To a Christian school, by the way. Okay.
After that, she added a larger decal, and now this week the Kleins got a letter saying the family's enrollment has been immediately terminated.
It's definitely not for kids, but there's a paywall that you can't access unless you have ID and a credit card.
In an interview, she said that she had the decal on her car for about 2 years before—
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. These things get leaked outside of, like, the platform. I think they are not even aware of that can happen. I don't even think... There's just no way. There's just no way.
It became an issue and another parent complained. Since then, she says that she hasn't been on school grounds, which, just by the way, is confusing because in another news report that I listened to, they said that apparently she got a bigger decal and kept driving on the school grounds. So I don't know what the deal is there. When asked about her thoughts on her kids being expelled, she indicated that she thinks it's unfair.
So I want to ask you, what was your reaction to the kids kind of being expelled or kicked out of the school? Did you think that that had crossed a line?
I do, yes, because I feel like when they came to me and asked me to not be on property any longer with my vehicles, I immediately obliged. I wasn't back on property one more time since then, and I did what I was asked. But then I felt like, you know, like that wasn't enough. It's like they had to like take it further, and now I feel like it was being taken on the kids because they weren't an issue. You know, their behavior, their grades, anything like that wasn't a problem. It's just simply someone didn't.
Madam, do you consider anybody but yourself in that situation? I don't think you do. I don't think you do whatsoever.
Like my car decal, so I removed it from the property, and yet it still wasn't sufficient.
Now, hilariously, the latest development in this story is that the parent who complained about the decal, her children have also been suspended because she caused, quote, disharmony in the school by making a TikTok video about the incident. So, yeah, there's all of that. Now, something that I—
So both side, the reporting and the well, that's bold. The reporting on it got somebody expelled, and the doing of that kind of content also got somebody expelled. That's wild.
I have touched on with relation to this topic in the past is that people seem to be of the opinion that there won't actually ever really be any consequences for their actions. This is especially common with young women who presently do OnlyFans and make explicit content who are not yet mothers but want to be a parent somewhere down the road. In one of my videos titled The Age of OnlyFans Regret, I showed a clip from the Whatever podcast where several young women argued that their content wouldn't be a problem for their future children because the market is currently saturated with so many women doing what they're doing. Meaning their children and their peers will all be in the same boat because all their moms put their lady parts on the internet.
How is it possible that I share a planet with these people? Bitch, you're the minority. What are you yapping about? These women are the minority. And put that cross away. I will find you.
If you raise your kid in LA, like, there are so many sex workers here that I don't think that, you know, specifically one of ours necessarily is going to be the talk of the town when there's like so many plus years now going on between now and then.
Great. Instead of like what, one kid getting bullied per class, it's 3. Sure, why not?
And also seem to believe that they can have their spicy content meaningfully taken off the internet with takedown requests. Which, like, just to reiterate,
these people do not understand how the internet works. Once it's on the internet, it will always be on the internet. You will be able to find these.
and I know that I already covered this in detail in my OnlyFans Regret video, that's not a thing. Again, the internet is mostly forever, especially when it comes to seeing your butthole.
Why wouldn't you delete your OnlyFans if you...
I've already spoken about this. I was big enough to where my is going to be out there.
You can get it taken down very easily.
You can't.
Yes, you can. 100% you can.
You can't.
Yes, you can.
I was just curious why you can't. I was just curious. I know. Okay, listen.
Wasn't there somebody big who tried to get rid of their stuff and then just like stopped because they weren't able to do so?
You guys have been doing this for 6 months too.
I also have lawyers that literally tell, like, you just pay for it and it gets taken. There's DCMA takedowns, so I actually a couple times a week will go out on the internet to search my name and see if there's any of my content out there, and I use legal action and DCMA takedown to take that content down.
It doesn't matter. They just have saved it. They will just re-upload it. It's just a simple click. A few simple clicks and it's back online. You will not get rid of this.
So some of it doesn't always get taken down based on the country that it's in, because they don't obviously fall under those legal actions.
Unsurprisingly, like I have already said in this video several times, the things being expressed here are not uncommon, and this has been articulated again and again and again. In one clip from June 2023, host Piers Morgan asks an OnlyFans creator called Elle Brooks how she thinks her future children will react and feel when they see her explicit content. She responds, "They can cry in a Ferrari." Whoever owns Piers Morgan's content and
What instead of crying in a Ferrari, they hang from the ceiling? Ever considered that option? Ever considered that option?
his show, I actually don't know the company, I didn't look it up, sorry about that. They are notorious for copyright claiming and whatnot, so I am gonna try to include the clip. I don't know if it's gonna stick, but we're gonna see how it goes.
How would you feel when you want to have kids yourself?
Well, I mean, I don't really want kids right now. But
You will do. How old are you?
25.
Right, so you will do at some stage, probably, right?
Maybe.
When you do, you're going to be proud that you have your little ones and they look at you and go, "Didn't you want to be a lawyer, Mummy? What happened?"
Yeah.
And you go, "Yeah, but look at all my stuff."
They can cry in a Ferrari.
This is the face that we all make internally.
Yeah, she doesn't understand downloading exists. They all don't understand downloading exists. Like, it'll be there forever. And it can just be as easily as it is downloaded. It can also be just as easy uploaded again. Like, literally, like... how do they breathe the same air as me?
This is the way. Just weeping. I find it very interesting that there appears to be this belief that the monetary and financial benefits of this type of work will inevitably pacify the negative experiences of children, present or future. This again is something that I've seen over and over with relation to this issue.
I feel like what I'm doing allows my daughter to have a better life. Like, we're going to be able to like put her through private school because I have the life that I have now. Like, I wouldn't have been able to give her that without that.
And you're not old enough or mature enough to grasp the benefits that have actually happened from this. You're only seeing one side of it. And I think after I had that conversation, she seemed to understand it a lot more.
I just feel like it's not that serious. I don't know. People get bullied for all sorts of things. So I think I would set my kid up with a life where they would be, 1, safe, 2, financially stable, and 3, have a good relationship with me. So if anything...
The financial aspect really doesn't matter to children, because they're not even old enough to grasp the idea. Like, most of them aren't even old enough to grasp the idea of money. And, like, finances. The only thing that they know... They barely breathe carbon monoxide. The only thing they are going to remember is that they were bullied and their parents didn't help them. And later then you complain that you're going to be put, like, I don't know, when they abandon you or put you into a nursery home or something. These people shouldn't have children in the first place.
Were to take place, I would be able to take care of it.
Now, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't add that there are children, who seem to be mostly adult, who don't care about their parents' spicy content. I also saw articles and
Yeah, but you know what the difference here is? These adults can leave their parents behind. Like, I would do that. I would... Yeah, I don't have a mother other than that one. I'm gonna leave far away.
Stories while looking into this topic where daughters make content with their mothers or sons take photos of
that is mad disgusting. That is peak degeneracy. That is absolute peak degeneracy. Brother, what's that? That really just is peak degeneracy.
their mothers. Others indicate that the children are overall fine with all of this and even support it. Although I would argue that children are not the most forward-thinking humans. So to sign them up to a lifetime of implications that they probably don't fully understand the scope of yet seems a little selfish. This is also sort of an aside to this.
Huh? Oh, what do I what do they mean by basically like making like content with their mother? What does that entail? Why does the son take intimate photos? I guess it doesn't have the same same kick if it's not blood related. This is Alabama 100.
This issue, but I do think that it's worth adding that parents model behavior for their children. So a mother or even father making spice content models that this is a viable career path, particularly for their daughters. In my view, it sets them up for a life of exploitation, especially if they choose to pursue this path when they are freshly 18, like fresh out of the womb. Their little noggins are not developed yet. That's how I feel about 18-year-olds. I also want to add that I assume that this is going to make custody agreements and disputes a lot more challenging going forward.
I mean, true. Most 18-year-olds aren't really like adults. I would even say that most like 25-year-olds aren't even like fully adults. Funnily enough. Because like a lot of people are acting still like teenagers.
Forward, but that's definitely a conversation for another day. I think the fact of the matter here is that OnlyFans as a platform is probably not going anywhere anytime soon. And actually, I think you can extend that to any kind of adult content creation and these adult industries generally. There is an ever-growing market for this, and that's
I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Understandable. Me neither.
Means that there will be people to meet that demand. But as far as children go, it's sometimes very hard for me to wrap my head around why mothers especially would participate on a platform that more than likely won't give them the financial freedom that they so desire, given that the vast majority of creators on OnlyFans—
Yeah, the vast majority gets $180 a month, and this is the average earning. It is the average. It might be even lower than that.
Only make somewhere between $150 to $180 a month. This is something else that I explored in detail in my OnlyFans regret video, so I won't rehash it here, and if you're interested, go and watch that video because we talk about all of this. Ultimately, I think that we can all agree that first and foremost, a parent's responsibility is to make sure that their child is safe and well cared for. So with that said, I think it's very hard to make the argument that knowingly exposing putting people to an industry that is known to be destructive and gross and harmful meets that criteria, especially when many, if not most, OnlyFans creators are very public about information that would ordinarily—
We have seen a lot of articles recently of sex workers. That's much lower than you thought. Yeah, it is. This is just the average. It goes probably even lower. There are probably hundreds of thousands of women on that platform that make like that make absolutely zero. Yeah, there were a couple of articles in recent history where sex workers were ending themselves.
Ordinarily be private, like their actual name and their face and other information that they use to promote their spice content. While I understand that some people would much rather live in this magical fantasy land where there is absolutely no stigma attached to doing the horizontal monster mash on camera, that is not the reality.
It is such a... She has a way to like go around like using other words, like replacement words for things. That is wild.
Which we currently live, and that likely isn't going to change. So especially where pudding people are involved, I think it's considerably more important, at least in my opinion, to accept the reality in which we all exist, the parameters that exist, and work within those confines rather than wish for a world that's completely different and put your child in harm's way. I think it's worth remembering that OnlyFans only really rose to prominence in 2020 during the pandemic, which wasn't all that long ago. So with with this platform being very new, it's very concerning and telling that we already have so many examples of children suffering the consequences of their parents' participation on the platform. And in the end, and unfortunately, I think all this indicates is that things are almost certainly going to get worse. Now, on that very happy and pleasant note, and before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder to check out Lion's Tea Exchange, my little brand.
The tea ad
Using
again.
the link in the
Stop
description,
with the
we
tea
have
ad.
a bunch of flavors that you can try. You can get yourself a sample pack if you so desire.
Yeah,
and it
it's
helps
like
the channel. It supports me. It supports all the things that we do, and it means a lot that you guys give my weird little endeavors a try. So go check it out. You won't regret it. And yeah, now open the floor to all of you. What do you all think? Is this issue actually a big deal to you? Do you think, it doesn't really matter all that much, this is not that important? Do you think that parents owe their children a sense of responsibility and respect when it comes to how they conduct themselves, not only in their profession, but also on the internet?
My point is very simple. Very simple. Before everything else, if you have a child, before everything else comes the child. The well-being of the child, just the child, like, in general. And if you let your child get harmed because of your own actions, I think there should be heavy repercussions for you. And if there's no legal repercussions, then at least societal repercussions. These should not, obviously, not affect the kids, but you should be, like, the mother should certainly be affected by these. Because, yeah, I don't want kids to get harmed. I'm a teacher in the making, and yeah, it even slightly angers me if, like, parents don't spend time with their kids. That already, like, makes my blood boil. So, yeah, this is disgusting. This is just straight up disgusting. I don't think I need to say much. But yeah, that was a good video. That was a very good video.